going on, everybody? It's your boy Adam, back at you. It's no hashtags, chaos to come back, and I'm exhausted. Bakery day. Had to drop off my $50 water bottle at the Whole Foods to return that to Amazon. It didn't quite work out, and I just couldn't justify keeping it. I could have put it on a different bike, but the amount of it's only like a 20-ounce bottle. They make bigger ones for that system, but I just couldn't justify keeping that when it didn't work for its intended purpose. So I took it back to Whole Foods and they refunded my Amazon account within an hour. So I ordered it's a more durable, rugged, kind of a standard water bottle cage. It's a little bit beefier. It's not the exact same shape as a standard water bottle cage, and based on the shape of it, I think it's going to fit in that space pretty well, and it's not going to interfere with the chain rings. I think it's going to fit where it needs to fit, and not only will it not interfere with the chain rings, I shouldn't have to bend anything or do any goofy stuff to put a water bottle in it. And while it can hold a standard, there's two basic sizes for bicycle water bottles. One of them is a 20 ounce and the other one's like a 24 ounce or a 22 ounce. One's about 8 inches tall, one's about 9.5 inches tall. 10 inches tall. 9.5, I'd say. And it's the two standard sizes. If you go to any bike shop, bicycle water bottles have a little divot in them. A little, like, I don't know, like they have a special shape so that when you slide them into a water bottle cage, there's a little lip that hooks into the bottle to kind of keep them from flying out. And so they come in two standard sizes, and I mean you can get all kinds of deviations and variations from there. I've had all kinds of goofy bicycle water bottles and systems throughout my life, but the standard ones, when I mount a water bottle underneath the down tube on the bike, I use a shorter one, the smaller of the standard sizes, because that gives more clearance for the front wheel. The full-size water bottle in that spot always gets really close to the front wheel, and while it might not completely rub up against the front wheel, it's kind of I just like having the extra clearance. No problem. Especially if you go on a long ride, I just don't want problems. But along with it, I don't like the Camelback water bottles because I got a stainless steel one that I carry my coffee in when I go to the bakery. And I hope this one, I ordered a Camelback water bottle because it has a mud guard. So any dirt that flies up from the front wheel won't get on the nozzle that you drink the water from, because there's a mud cover for it. And so I ordered that. It wasn't expensive. So hopefully this water bottle system, much cheaper, looking at like $20 for the bottle and the water bottle cage I ordered. instead of $50 for that fancy system. I'll take this water bottle if I'm going on long rides. Short rides to the bakery and back, I can use I can use a standard water bottle, but this will be good. I like this better because that fancy system, you have to use that fancy water bottle with that system, and you don't have any other choice. And so with the way I'm doing it now, this new thing I've ordered, you know, you never know what's going to happen when you go on a long trip. And, standard water bottles, it's good to have a system that can handle just standard water bottles. It's the same thing that when I go on a long trip with my bicycle, I won't take any lights. I try not to take anything that needs to be recharged. But we're kind of moving into that world where everything has a rechargeable battery now, but I do try to find. I've always had a kit. I'm starting from scratch, but whenever I did my really long distance rides, I had a separate kit with lights, a handlebar mounted speaker that I used zip ties to hold. Everything that I did, including my GPS. I have a wristwatch GPS unit that takes AAA batteries from Garmin. The one that I've always used, the AAA batteries will last about a day, but I bought a replacement for that a while back, and its batteries last 7 days. AAA batteries. I always, for bicycle lighting, AA, AAA batteries. Not as bright as what you can get, with the lithium-ion batteries, but not having to charge things is a game changer. I have a couple of heavy-duty batteries that can keep a phone charged, but it's weight. When you're going on a long trip, weight is a factor, and I can carry enough AA and AAA batteries to get through a period of time, but you can also stop at a gas station, grocery store, and restock your battery supply. And when I'm going on long trips, I tend to not take rechargeable batteries. I'll take throwaway batteries. So, always being weight conscious on a long trip like that. A short weekender, different story. I'll take rechargeables. But a long trip that's going to be, a 3-day trip even. It's just weight. It's just weight. The bike lights, the lights that I normally take, you're not going to get more than one ride. You're not going to get more than one night ride out of the helmet light and the headlight that I use on the bike. That for my bicycle commutes, I'm getting one ride to or from the bakery is going to tap them out. And then the flashlight that I mount to my handlebars can take 8 hours to charge one of those batteries with the charger they supply. They both take forever to charge. They both have replaceable lithium-ion batteries, so I could take a supply of those batteries, but they're hard to charge. And, if you're going to be camping day after day, you're not going to have access to charge that kind of stuff. I don't know if I still have it. I might have it in my kit somewhere. I have a portable solar panel that's pretty compact and can fit. You can take it, you can strap it to the outside of your backpack. I've laid it out on the back of my bicycle rack on long trips and just plugged rechargeable batteries in it and let them charge all day. But it's not ideal. It's for, certain distances, whatever, but you're not going to have access to charge on a long trip like that. You're really not going to have access to charge batteries all day. They make bicycle dynamos. I don't know if you've ever seen the lights, especially on the old school bikes, where you had a little dynamo next to your wheel and you flip a switch and it rubs up against your wheel and spins a little tiny generator to get headlights on the old style bicycles. They still make those kind of lights, but they're a little more efficient than they used to be. They do rob your speed a little bit, and they can be a pain in the ass. But they also make dynamos like that will charge your cell phone or charge rechargeable batteries as well. So there are different options you can do. You can do solar panels and a dynamo on the bike to charge batteries. But most of the rides I do, the long distance stuff, just stopping at the grocery store and getting some batteries is better than any other way of doing it. But I don't even know if I don't really know if I have that solar panel anymore. I have to check through my gear, but I don't know if I have it. I don't know if it survived, and I haven't really paid that much attention to certain things like that. So today is May 17th. May 17th. It's the 1 year anniversary to the day that I became homeless. 1 year ago today was the day I became homeless. It's like, what time is it? It's like 8:30 right now at night. I don't know, somebody from Florida, a friend of the show, a friend of mine, was telling me today how hot it is where I live. I think it was 92 today. So I don't know, all these people telling me I'm going to hate the heat in Houston. Is 92 and humid is that the heat I'm going to hate? Or does it have to get hotter before I'm going to hate it? Cuz I had a blast riding my bike today. It was nice. I don't like wearing long sleeves in the morning. It was 85 when I left. It was 85 when the sun came up. By the time I got to the bakery, I was definitely swampy. I had a little bit had to, break out the deodorant and whatnot, dry clothes and all that. Brought a pair of boxers with me, and I wasn't going to be wearing no sweaty bike shorts for that situation, but it was a nice bike ride, nice warm bike ride, and the ride home was, when I left, the app that I used said it was 92. It was, I guess that's hot. I don't know. I mean, it doesn't bother me. I like it. I enjoyed the bike ride. I got a little bit sweaty. I had to wipe off my sunglasses a couple times because the sweat pours down. Um, I don't know, when you're out riding a bike, you do get breeze, but it was 90 something the other day. What day was it? When I went grocery shopping, it was 90 degrees. It was over 90 degrees, but it was 50% humidity, so it didn't feel as bad. Today the humidity was a lot higher. I don't know what it was, but it was high. Because how fast your sweat evaporates will kind of tell you. I would say it was in the 80% humidity range, because if it was 50% humidity, sweat wouldn't be pouring down my face while I'm riding as much as it was today. So that's basically how I'm pretty good at guessing what the humidity is based on how sweaty I get, and I wear clothing that wicks moisture away from the body. So the shirts that I wear, the synthetic shirts, it sucks the moisture out, and then they dry really fast. So if the shirt that I'm wearing on the bike doesn't dry fast and it just stays soaking wet, then the humidity's high because the water doesn't evaporate. But on the day, like for example, on the day that I rode 78 miles or whatever it was, 78 miles to go look at that one tiny house. My shirt was generally dry more often than not, but covered in salt, just salt. There were like salt stains all over my shirt. And so that was that couldn't have been. It wasn't as humid as it was today, because today it was just soaking wet. But I don't know. Like, everybody's telling me I'm gonna be complaining about the heat. Like, it's 92 degrees and 80% humidity today, and I'm not complaining about it. So how hot does it have to be before you get to hear me complain? I keep telling you people that want to argue with me all day about how I don't mind the heat. It was 97 degrees every single day for a month when I moved here. Everybody was like, oh, you moved there in September, so you didn't actually know. You don't even know what the summer was like. My friend said when I got here that it had been hotter in August. He said he was saying there were a few days where it was too hot for him. But he doesn't rely on a bicycle for transportation and spend all that time outside anyway. He does certain things outside, but it was 97 degrees, and every time we went anywhere, I wore jeans. So, I mean, there was a big difference when I would put on shorts to go outside versus wearing jeans. But, when I'm walking around in public or just doing things like that, where we're basically going from an air-conditioned thing to another air-conditioned thing and walking across parking lots to a vehicle and such, I don't really feel the need to wear shorts all the time. I like to wear jeans. I like to have pockets. I'm more comfortable wearing jeans most of the time. I wore jeans every fucking day that I was in Jamestown. I never wore shorts. The whole summer I was homeless, walking everywhere. And there were 95 degree days there or higher. It's just, you don't get them as much. It's not like it stays 95 degrees for months at a time. It's more like a few weeks in July, and then it goes back to winter. Like the first day of August, I was wearing a sweater. It was 40 fucking degrees in the 1st of August. When I recorded my homeless video in the park, it was 40 degrees. I was miserable that day. But yeah, a year ago, I was homeless. I'll never forget that day. I'll never forget that day. I woke up. It was just a screaming, shouting match with my ex. Like, she spent the night before that crying. And I was like, why the fuck are you crying? You're not the one that's going to be homeless tomorrow, so boo fucking who? If anybody should be crying right now, it should be, how about the guy who's going to be homeless tomorrow, not knowing whether he's going to be sleeping in a fucking hammock out in the woods or at a fucking homeless shelter. There's a good reason to cry. But, oh my fucking God. Anyway. So we got into a nice big shouting match. So the day before, when I was frantically getting my stuff out of her apartment, a friend came up from Pittsburgh with a U-Haul van, and we packed as much stuff as would fit in it. And we couldn't even, like, logically or carefully pack the van. It was just chaos. Everything was chaotic. I didn't want either of any of the people who came to help get my stuff coming into the apartment for various reasons. Not that I didn't trust them, it had to do with her not trusting anybody. So I'm like, I'll bring the stuff out. And we packed this van as full as we could get it. And there was like an oh shit moment because it was hectic. And I pulled out a drawer of silverware. There was a cabinet with a drawer. And it had all this silverware and stuff. And there were some things of mine in there. And so I went to open the drawer and I pulled the drawer all the way out by accident. And the whole thing just went ba-boom, and like all the stuff in the drawer fell out. So I didn't give a fuck about cleaning anything at this point. Like, who fucking cares? So I picked everything up off the floor, put it back in the drawer, and shut the drawer. I just put it in as good as I could. I pulled my stuff that I wanted to keep, whatever it was. I had, like I said, I had some stuff in there. I don't remember what. I picked up everything off the floor, and I just threw it back in the drawer. I'm like, fuck it. She can use a fork that's been on the floor. What fuck do I give about that anymore? So, anyway, I was like, whatever. I'm going to get bitched at no matter what the fuck I do today, so I got other things to worry about than this. So anyway, I put everything in as best as I could, shut the drawer. So the next day, the day I'm homeless, I had a backpack all ready to go. I just woke up. I decided I'd wait until she goes to work. That way I could just have a few minutes to fucking chill in peace and quiet. I had a mug of coffee waiting for me. Drink a mug of coffee, like peacefully in a quiet space, get my shit together, get my bag packed, final pack, whatever, and hit the fucking road. And before she left for work, you know how these fucking women, they've got these trendy Stanley mugs that they love so much? Well, she went to take her Stanley mug to work, and she opens up the drawer and saw that the drawer wasn't perfect, and she's like, what the fuck did you fucking do, you fucking piece of shit? And just started screaming at me about the fucking drawer. And I told her, I said, yeah, I pulled the drawer out. Some shit fell out of the drawer. Well, everything fell out of the drawer, but I just said some stuff fell out of the drawer. I picked it all up and put it back in the drawer because I don't give a fuck about you. Eat with your dirty fork that was on the floor. I don't give a fuck. At this point, you think I give a shit about that? But the straw to her Stanley mug was missing. And I'm like, I don't know, look on the floor. Like, it's not my fucking problem anymore. So she's screaming and yelling and throwing this big fucking temper tantrum about the straw to her Stanley mug. And then she, like, throws a bunch of shit around, slams a bunch of shit down, and goes stomping off into the fucking sunset, gets in her car and drives off to work all in a fucking road rage temper tantrum. And so I'm like, fuck. Thank God she's gone. So then I'm chilling. I'm like, okay, it's 7 in the morning. I'm going to be out the door at 8. Just give me an hour. Go to the bathroom, drink my coffee, eat a little something, like whatever snacks or whatever. A couple chocolate chip cookie or whatever the fuck I had. Just go through and make sure everything. I'm looking around at some stuff that I wanted to keep that I forgot. Like this real nice mahogany mirror that I had, this mahogany dresser, 2 dressers, and some other mahogany thing, and a mirror. This really cool mirror. And I was like, whatever, fucking keep it. But I wanted to keep the mirror. And then I saw the mirror, I was like, shit. But there's nothing I can do about it now. So I'm looking around and I'm just like, just kind of like quiet. Just trying to absorb the quiet. Just trying to like, because I know this day is gonna fucking suck. But I don't want to begin until 8 a.m. I'm like, I'll be out the door at 8 a.m. So it's like 7:45 and I get a text message. You have until 10 a.m. to get the fuck out of that apartment, and I'm coming home to inspect, and if one fucking thing is out of place, I'm calling your probation officer and I'm gonna report you and I'm gonna have you sent back to prison, you fucking piece of shit, and all this other stuff. And I start wondering, I'm like, so I did like a walkthrough where I took a fucking video with my cell phone of what everything looks like, time-stamped. Because all of a sudden I've got this like premonition, and nothing came to pass, but I had this premonition. I'm like, this psychotic bitch, she might come home to inspect her apartment now. I just started to think to myself, oh my God, she might come home and just start smashing things and breaking glass and breaking windows and throwing things all over the fucking place so that she can call the police and have them come over and say that I did it before I left. I threw a temper tantrum. I destroyed her apartment. I went and broke everything in her apartment before I went out the door. Like, I started to wonder if this psychotic fucking nut job was going to do something like that. And up until that point, the thought would have never crossed my mind. But then I'm like, holy fuck. And I'm like, the only thing that I kept logically, I'm like, why the fuck would she do that? That's going to be more of a headache for her. She's going to be the one cleaning up the mess. She's going to be the one having to fix the broken stuff, whatever. But maybe she would. Just to fucking do something like... I was like, oh my God, I gotta get the fuck out of here. But I had to make sure I at least took a video or something of what things looked like. And I was just kind of like saying, just in case this psychotic bitch decides to do something like that, here's what this place looked like when I left. You know what I mean? I'll be doing that when I leave this apartment. If my friend comes to help me, I'll get him on the video. I'm not going to play it for anybody or show anybody. It's just going to be for court. If this guy, this fucking lunatic that I'm renting it from, decides to come in here and trash the place take a bunch of pictures and then decide to charge me for damages. But I'm like, what's in it? I just kept thinking to myself, I'm like, what's in it for her if she were to do something like that? But she was acting like she might do something like that. It was crazy. And I was like, all right, I gotta get the fuck out of here. So I put on my backpack, got my shit together. I walked out. I left, locked the door behind me. I sent her a text. I sent her a text message that I don't know exactly what it said, but it's something like, I hope you find what you're looking for, or something like that. And I have never contacted her or said anything to her since. But that was the last thing I ever said to her, was a text message of some kind of, instead of saying, go fuck yourself, you rotten cunt, I said, I hope you find what you're looking for, or something like that. I said, I left. Just wanted you to know I left your apartment. I hope you find what you're looking for. Have a good life. Whatever. I was like, go fuck yourself, you rotten cunt. Didn't really seem like a good idea at the time, considering that she was threatening to go, report me to my probation officer. That probably wouldn't have, as much as that's what I wanted to say, how do they say, how did the cop, anything you say can and will be used against you. So I just held that one in. I went off on my merry way, walked into Jamestown. Is a 6-mile walk. My backpack was about 60 pounds. I had trekking poles, I'm a fucking homeless guy with a backpack, 60-pound backpack, carbon fiber trekking poles, and a brand new pair of Keen hiking boots that I'd only worn a couple times. My top of the line hiking backpack. But I start hiking into Jamestown. I'm not even like 2 miles into the hike, and all of a sudden, some hillbilly in a fucking pickup truck comes up to me, comes down to the end of his long driveway, gets on the road, pulls up next to me, and opens up his passenger side window. He's like, hey, how's it going? Not bad. What you doing out here? Going for a hike? I'm like, yep, going for a hike. He was all friendly and everything, but he was coming at me. Like, he was trying to scope out if I was looking for a place to camp here on his property, or a neighbor or something like that. He was definitely letting me know, we're on to you. You know what I mean? Don't think you're going to be setting up camp in these parts. And I can tell you that's what they do that out in Redneckville. There was a time, so I lived out in Amish country, and I lived on state game lands. My entire backyard had, I think it was 2 acres or something like that, and it was surrounded by forest. And at the edge of the property, all of the trees had white marks on them. And that was to signify that everything after this white mark on the tree is public land, forest land, hunting land. Some of the trees had a badge nailed to the tree saying it was Pennsylvania State Forest or State Game Land or whatever. So there was a parking lot down the street, down the road from me, where you could park a vehicle and go hike back into the woods from there. Well, I was on my way to go somewhere with my son. And we're driving down the road. We'd just left the house. And I see this old guy with a big long beard, big old hiking backpack. And he's walking down the road. And I just kind of smile, and I'm like, I know exactly where you're going. But I was cool with it. I've done that shit before. I do that shit all the time. When I'm on my bicycle, I'm camping. I'm stealth camping. I stealth camped in an Amish guy's field once. I've stealth camped in a lot of places I'm not supposed to camp. In and out. Nobody would even know I'm there. I could fill this video with stories about that. Go watch a YouTube channel of a guy called Steve Wallace. He has a whole YouTube channel where all he does is go stealth camping in places you're not supposed to camp, and he never gets caught. Because it's so easy if you know what you're doing. Anyway, I see this old guy walking down the road, and I'm like, I know exactly where you're going, dog. Have a good camp. Have a good night. Didn't think anything of it. I get to the end of my road, and which isn't far, and a state trooper, I'm making a right-hand turn to go towards civilization. A state trooper is making a left turn to go down my road, and I'm like, oh, fuck. I know where that state trooper's going. You never see the state troopers on that road, ever. Ever. Once or twice I've seen the state troopers sitting in the parking area of the game lands with the radar guns set up, because people do like to go flying down these back roads, never thinking that they're ever going to see a cop. So a couple of times, I lived there for 6 years, a couple of times I saw a state trooper parked in that game lands parking lot with a radar gun. But it was so rare. I mean, I drove a Mini Cooper S, supercharged, and I'm not gonna lie, I flew down that road a few times, but I knew where to slow down. I knew that I'm going the speed limit anywhere near that trap, even though I never saw the cop when I was driving the Mini Cooper. Plus, there's a lot of blind spots, and I would let that car rip, but I wouldn't do it where I'm gonna potentially kill somebody or kill myself. I had limits. So I'd let it rip if I felt like it was safe to do so. But anyway, so this old guy's walking down the road. State trooper makes a left-hand turn. I'm like, fuck. Poor old man. I already know what's going on. I make the right to go to the main road. Head towards the main road. 2 more fucking state troopers come down past me, and I look in my rear view mirror, their left-hand blinker goes on. They're going down. 3 state troopers are going down my fucking road now. So these fucking hillbillies around where I live, they see an old man walking down the road with a backpack. They're calling 911 because they know, oh, he's obviously going back to camp in the woods, and we don't want this fucking hillbilly, we don't want this homeless old dickhead camping in our forest. You're not allowed to camp in state game lands, but it's a huge piece of fucking woods that nobody's hunting in the middle of the fucking summer. So who fucking cares? Who fucking cares? But I guarantee you somebody saw this old man walking down the road with a backpack, and they're like, we gotta call the state troopers. They had 3 fucking state. I wish I could have seen what, but I already know. Everybody knows what those troopers were doing. They're going to shake this old man down. But he hadn't broken any laws yet. He was walking down the road with a backpack. So they're probably questioning him and shaking him down and telling him that you're going to have to keep moving on. You can't camp here. At which point, wait until the fucking cops disappear and then go back and camp there. I mean, that's what I would do. I'd be like, oh yeah, okay, sure, officer, I'll do exactly as you told me, and I'll keep on keeping on, and then when they're gone, all right, let's go back in the woods and set up camp. Like, who the fuck's gonna come back? These lazy ass pigs aren't gonna get out of their car and actually walk back in the woods. you might not want to start a campfire at that point or do anything that might, make you visible, but all it took was an old man walking down the street with a backpack to get the cops. 3 fucking I've never seen 3 state troopers. The only time that many cops were ever on my road is when the FBI came to my house to kick down my fucking door with a tank. Other than that, 3 state troopers shaking down an old man carrying a backpack was the last time that road had seen any action. And so here I am walking towards Jamestown with a backpack. Now I've already scoped out, because I knew this fucking bitch was going to throw me out in the street. So I already had mapped out all the places that I found within walking distance of there. If I had to go, like if she was like, get the fuck out of here, you got an hour to get the fuck out, I already knew where I was going. I already had a bunch of places scoped out. This is what I do. This is like a hobby of mine. Like, I'm always looking. I'm looking every time I go to the bakery and back. I know dozens of places. If for some reason I ended up homeless again, I know exactly where to go and set up a camp. I'm telling you, I could, nobody would ever find me. If I really wanted to disappear, no one would find me. Guaranteed. I could disappear I could disappear. You think I couldn't, but I could disappear to the point where nobody would find me. I'm not saying that's what I'm going to do, but if I decided to do that, you wouldn't find me. If I broke out of prison, all these motherfuckers that break out of prison, they get caught in a day or two. No, I wouldn't. There was a guy when I was in prison, when I was in the Butler County jail where Donald Trump got shot. A guy broke out of a jail in Warren, Pennsylvania, which isn't too far from Jamestown. And the Allegheny National Forest is right there. How he got caught, fucking dumb motherfucker, you got 600,000 acres of empty land, and he decided to camp in some dude's yard. And the dude was down at the back of his property and saw this guy camping out in flip-flops and a weird outfit, like, duh. I mean, yeah, you're going to have a hard time in a pair of styrofoam Crocs and a bright orange jumpsuit. You're going to have to steal, and you're going to have to figure out how to get some real clothes and some shoes and some shit like that. This dude hadn't figured it out yet, I guess. And the fucking property owner was like, yeah, I know who this guy is, and went and called 911, and boom, he had 5 stars if you were playing Grand Theft Auto at that point. I would, nobody's getting away when you got 5 stars. But he only had like 3 stars until the dude found him. If he had just disappeared off into the fucking woods, if he had played his shit a little bit smarter, he could have hung out in that forest for a while until the heat died down. It drops down to like 2 stars. And then he could, meander on his merry way and find his way to another. He could find his way out. That's all I'm going to say. Eric Rudolph, the Olympic bomber, the guy who bombed the Atlanta Olympics, that dude held out in the Nantahala National Forest down in North Carolina for years. It's like, I think 6 years or more. And the only reason he got caught is because he would venture into town at night to go dumpster diving. I have it on a map. I know exactly where he was camping, and I know his routes, and I've always thought I would go on there was always this thing, because I used to go down to that area all the time, so I know the area, and I always thought, wouldn't it be interesting to go on some of these hiking trails that go on the Eric Rudolph hike, just for shits and giggles, to see, because that's some pretty rough terrain, just to kind of see how this motherfucker did it. And like, people posted GPS coordinates of all his camps that he had set up in the fucking mountains and stuff. It's hilarious. But he came into town this one day, and he was dumpster diving behind an IGA grocery store, and he got a cop just happened to drive back behind the grocery store, and he was like, oh fuck, and jumped into the dumpster and like tried to hide, and the cop was like, nah. It's kind of like the dudes, I don't know if you ever saw the show Cops, where the two dudes hid under the kiddie pool and their legs are hanging out. And the cops are, that's like one of the funniest fucking episodes. I'm sure you can find that on YouTube. But that shit's fucking hilarious. That's about how he got caught. And when he finally came out of the dumpster, the cop was like, yeah, I recognize him. And turned out it was Eric Rudolph, America's Most Wanted. And yep, off to the Supermax you go. So, anyhow. Oh, man. So that's what it was in Jamestown. All the way into Jamestown, people are like, you ain't gonna be camping out here. Bullshit. If I wanted to, I could. And you wouldn't even fucking know. But go ahead and act like, you tough hillbillies. You think you got shit under control. But I walked into Jamestown that day. And I just walked straight to the social services office, because I'm like, here's my first stop. And I got there probably about 10 a.m., let's say. This is a year ago today. And the form, they're like, oh, you got to fill out this form. This shit is a book. It's a workbook. Like, imagine when you were in like 5th grade and you got like a workbook. And now, I don't know what they do with this day and age, but when I was a kid, Gen X, y'all know what I'm talking about. You got a workbook for the whole school year. It'd be like this paperback book, saddle stitched with staples, and it would just be like 100 pages long, and each one was a lesson that had, you know what I mean? The workbook for your class, for reading class or whatever. The workbook. Remember, a teacher would be like, go to your workbook and go to page 22, and you're going to fill out that quiz, and that's your homework assignment for tonight, and I'm going to be checking your workbook tomorrow. That's the form for social services. Fucking workbook. The whole school year workbook in one shot. They're like, you're going to need a minute. No shit. Wow, it's things like 100 pages long. You got to write down everything about you. It's insane the amount of shit you have to fill out. And it's like, it's pretty fucking retarded, because like every page you basically have to write the same shit over and over. What's your social security number? I don't know. It's on the fucking first 6 pages of the book, and now I gotta write my social security number again on page 20. Well, you could go to page 18, 16, 12, 11, 10, 4, 3, 2, and 1. But now I gotta write it again. Fucking dumb motherfuckers. But anyway, that's what it was. You had to do this fucking page after page after page after page. The whole fucking workbook. That's the form. So I started that at like 10. It was like noon. It was like noon when I got that done. At least. And then they're like, oh, you got to fill out these other forms. And they hand me this whole fucking clipboard full of shit. And it's just like 20 fucking more pages of shit to fill out. So it's like noon 30, somewhere around there. And I'm finally done. And they gave me an appointment with a social worker. But they're like, you got to come back at like 2. And it's like little afternoon. And so I'm like, all right, fuck it. I left. I'm walking around Jamestown with this big backpack. Trekking poles, but trekking poles kind of suck on pavement. So when I got into Jamestown, when I got into town, I strapped my trekking poles to my backpack. Even though, these are high-end carbon fiber trekking poles and fancy camping backpack, like it, but everybody who saw me in town, they're like, I know what's up with you. Everybody's looking at me like, oh, you're the new homeless piece of shit in town. Nice to meet you. Everybody who saw me is like, oh, we got a new homeless guy for the bridge, living under the bridge. Yay. Oh, man. And so, yeah. Everywhere I went, everybody. So, now I had already talked to the people at the homeless shelter, so they were kind of like expecting to hear from me that day. And so I had another so I came back for my appointment with the social services people, and that's basically when it all shook out. They're like, the homeless shelter says they'll take you. You can either, my options were, I met with this person, they gave me the whole rundown, and, it's hard to remember every little detail, but they weren't gonna, like, give me any kind of housing assistance because I had like $300 to my name. And so they're like, we can't help you with any emergency housing unless you have less than $100. So you have to go you gotta go blow your wad on a hotel room until it's gone. And then we'll help you. And I'm like, why the fuck would I go blow $300? And the thing is, I wouldn't be able to get a hotel room. Because when you book a hotel room, they're gonna put, like, if it's $80 a night for the hotel room in some slime dirtball hotel, they're going to put a fucking authorization on your card for like $400. I didn't have that. I didn't have the amount of money that they're going to want to put an authorization on my card for just for one night at a hotel. And so it all just kind of, like, it wouldn't work. And they're like, well, they'll let you put a cash deposit. They said something about you need to put a $400 cash deposit if you don't have. I'm like, I don't have $400. Basically, they're like, you can afford a hotel room because the hotel rooms are this much per night. But you actually can't afford a hotel room because the hotel's going to want a deposit that's more than you actually have. But because you have more than the $80, we're not going to give you any emergency housing assistance. So that was what it was. I would have had to go blow my wad of $300 on a hotel room for, like, this was Friday. I wouldn't even have enough money to get through the fucking weekend. Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday night, come back to social services. I wouldn't have even had enough money to pay for those 3 nights in the hotel. So my options were go to a hotel that I can't afford. So that wasn't really an option. Go sleep out in the fucking woods in a hammock, or go to the homeless shelter. They said they'd take me. And so I'm like trying to decide, because I already had some places picked out. Do I want to just go sleep in the woods tonight? It'd be like camping. I've been camping before I went to prison, so that might be fun. And I walk outside, and it's starting to sprinkle a little bit, and the clouds, like, the weather is like, I don't know. So I'm like, well, the homeless shelter's right down the street. Let's check it out. So I walk down, and as I walk inside to the homeless shelter, ba-boom, and it just starts downpouring. Torrential downpour. And so had I decided to go sleep out in the woods or try to stay one night in a hotel, like, one night in a hotel might not have been bad if I could somehow pull it off. Just to have a room and a bathroom and a TV, or just be able to chill for a night. And, but it's downpouring. I would have been caught out in that rain if I didn't go to the homeless shelter. It was almost like I was pulled in that direction, and then God was like, you made the right choice. Watch. Boom, downpour. Torrential downpour. I would have been completely soaked. I wouldn't have had time to pull out. I had a cover, a rain cover for my backpack, but I wouldn't have been able to get anything out of my backpack until the rain stopped, or else, I had to keep stuff protected in there. So anyway, I go to the homeless shelter. I get all registered and checked in. Woman's really nice, really cool chick. I liked her a lot. She tells me, you can leave your backpack in here. It'll be safe. When you come back, she's like, if you want to go, later on, if you just want to go walk around for a bit and just decompress, come back before dinner. And then, we'll get you finished checking in, get you bedding, get you a locker, and we've got storage for your backpack downstairs. And so I'm like, okay, sounds good. I grabbed a couple of things. I just had my wallet, phone, the basics. I went for a walk, and I grabbed a bite to eat, because I didn't know, what time. I didn't even know what time dinner was. My head was spinning, and it stopped raining. So I just walked around. I ended up going to the library, because she had mentioned something about the library, and I walked up to the library. And I'm looking. I walked in the library. I'm like, oh wow! And I'm like, you guys got Wi-Fi? And then I walked back, and I saw all the little cubicle desks that they had, and I'm like, holy shit! This is perfect. This'll actually, I can set up here, and I can actually. And they had this soundproof booth that you could reserve, and I got the tour of the library from one of the librarians. And they took me on a full tour, showed me everything, all the conference rooms that you can book, and all these different things that I got a full tour of the library. And then I was like, it kind of made me feel better. I have a place to sleep, and then I can go to the library and get free Wi-Fi and sit and work and actually look for a job and buckle down, and it started to feel like, I remember when I got out of the library, I was like, oh, okay. And then I went to fucking 7-Eleven and got something to eat. And then I get back to the homeless shelter, and that was when the first, negative experience, because I had a bottle of Gatorade in my hand. I walk in the homeless shelter, one of the dudes that works there is like, you can't have that in here. Huh? Gatorade, you can't do it. Gotta drink it outside. I'm like, oh, fuck, man. Really? So I go and I chug this fucking Gatorade. Then this other dude, who was actually cooler and more laid back, introduces himself to me, and we start to get, I liked him. He actually, like, he's like, "Oh, you're the guy with the backpack, blah blah blah." Well, he saw my backpack and he's like, "Oh, so like they have to search you." So he kind of had me like open up my backpack a little bit, and he goes, "All right, looks good to me." It's like, "What do you want to store downstairs, and what do you want to keep in your locker up here?" And I sorted all that out, because the one director of the place, there were things in my backpack they didn't want me to have there, but they're like, "As long as you keep it in storage, we don't care." Like, I had all the things I needed to cook with. That's it. They don't want you to have things that you could use to start a fire. Well, I had all kinds of stuff to start a fire with. But I just kept it in storage in a locked room in the basement. They didn't give me any crap about that. But yeah, I was a little bit like, it felt like prison at that point. Like, oh, you mean I'm going to get shaken down every time I come and go, and I'm going to have to fucking let people search my bag and stuff? And, all right, fuck. Well, then I don't know if, I think I was there too late for dinner. I don't remember. I don't remember much. I just remember I got all settled in and squared away. And they're like, "Oh, you can go down to the basement. There's a hangout room down there." And I went down, and there's a room with a TV. And there was like a recliner and a couch. And I'm like, no shit. And so I went over and I sat on this couch and started talking to some people. And I realized it's May 17th, 2024. I haven't sat on a padded chair. I haven't sat on a couch since August 12th of 2022. And here it's May 17th of 2024. I've never sat on a fucking couch for more than 2 years. Or almost a year and almost 2 years. 3 months short of 2 years, I hadn't sat on a couch. This is my first time sitting on a couch. Like, woo, a couch! Holy shit, I forgot what that feels like. And so I'm literally sitting on this couch, realizing I haven't sat on a couch in almost 2 years. Like, my mind is blown. I'm like, I remember just thinking, oh my God, I'm sitting on a couch. I sent my friend a text, my friend down here in Houston. I was like, dude, I'm sitting on a couch. Like, it was the coolest thing I've ever done. He's like, word. Word. What up? But I'm like, this is the coolest thing I've ever done. I'm sitting on a fucking couch, man. It's like Tom Hanks, after he got off the island and Cast Away, and he came home to the seafood buffet and all that. Imagine what he felt like the first time he sat on a fucking couch. That's what I felt like the first time I sat on a couch. So, yeah, and then, so I'm like, okay, cool, and then I'm watching TV and whatnot, and I didn't really get it, but, like, they're like, oh, it's Betty Bye time, and I'm like, huh? And that's when I realized, oh, fuck, for real, like, I can't just watch TV or hang out. Like, it's Betty Bye time, like I'm 10 years old, like I'm 5 years old, and I gotta go night-night? Like, really, what the fuck is this? And you can't take your phone, you can't have your phone with you, you can't, like, just put in some headphones, listen to some music, whatever. Like, no, it's Betty Bye time, lights out, Betty Bye. And that pissed me the fuck off. That really pissed me off that night. Like, they're going to be up all night at the homeless shelter. The people that work there, and manage the homeless shelter are literally going to be up all night. They're the night shift. So why the fuck can't I just sit in a chair and watch some TV until I start falling asleep, and then, okay, now I can go to beddy by time because I'm tired? No, you got to go to bed when we tell you to go to bed. Holy fuck. Holy fuck, you got to be fucking kidding me. I'm 48 years old, soon to be 49 years old, and you're literally treating me like I'm a 5-year-old kid and I got to go to beddy by night. I got to go night. My fucking 12-year-old son doesn't have to go night. At fucking 11 o'clock or whatever the fuck it was. My now 15-year-old son doesn't have to go beddy by time. But dad has to go to beddy by time now? What the fuck? I was so fucking mad. And then I'm like, the next day, I was like, I gotta get the fuck out of this fucking place. And I went for a walk, and I left stuff in the lockers, and I went for a walk with nothing but my phone and nothing but just me. Oh, they had given me a EBT card at they gave me an EBT card at the homeless shelter, or at the social services. They said there should be funds on it tomorrow. So I remember I went to like CVS or something. I think I went to CVS and got Ben & Jerry's, a tub of Ben & Jerry's. And I had a camping spoon in my kit, a spork. I just got out of prison, but I had a better spork in my camping gear than they give you in prison. But it's like a little metal spork with a bottle opener and some other tools on it. It's like a multi-tool thing, but it's a spork. Literally, it's a. I have it somewhere in this tiny house, but I'm not going to break it out right now because I don't know exactly where it is. But I had a metal spork, like a titanium spork. And so I had that clipped to keychain with no keys, because what the fuck would I need a key for when I'm homeless? Did I had it? No. Yeah, I didn't have need for, but I had a key. I had it. And so I'm like, I went and tested out my EBT card, got some Ben & Jerry's. I'm like, boy, I haven't had some fucking ice cream in a couple of years. And I took a tub of Ben & Jerry's from CVS over to the park and sat on a bench and chowed that thing down to the bottom of the bucket. One of those pints. Ate the whole fucking... I mean, what am I going to do? Not like I can put it anywhere. So you gotta commit. And so I ate a whole thing of Ben & Jerry's. And then I'm sitting there. And I'm like... I had been talking to my friend and some other people who came out of the woodwork when I came home from prison. And they were all saying, you need to document this. You need to put this up on YouTube. You need to start sharing what you're going through. People would be interested in hearing this story. And so I was like, all right. I didn't want to do it on the first day that I was homeless. Like I said, I had that rough morning, screaming and yelling at the ex, and then by the time I got down to social services, I had to fill out a workbook, 100-page fucking workbook full of all kinds of shit. But I mean, I spent 2.5 to 3 hours filling out forms. Then I had to leave and come back for another hour or so to meet with a social worker. And then I had to go to the homeless shelter and get registered and fill out a bunch of forms and get checked in there. And then at some point I was like, okay, then you can leave. And I ended up going straight to the library because I was told to go check it out. Got a whole tour of the library. And then I grabbed a bite to eat, came back to the homeless shelter, had to get shaken down and searched, and go through all that shit. And I mean, it's probably 9 o'clock. It's probably the same. It's 9:30 right now. And it was right now that I was sitting on that couch in the basement of the homeless shelter, and where the pool table and some of the other stuff were. And I'm just out of my mind, like, oh my God, I'm sitting in a couch. I'm sitting on a couch. Like it was the craziest thing in the world. I'm like, oh my God, I'm sitting on a couch. I haven't sat on a couch in almost 2 years. And so just there were no opportunities to sit down and be like, yo, what's up? I'm homeless, bitch. I'm on YouTube, and yo, how's it going? Hey. None of that. I didn't have time for that. I mean, how am I gonna do video editing? I mean, now I've got a couple of apps on my phone that are decent for video editing, but no, it wouldn't have been. That wasn't happening. That wasn't happening. I could have filmed the whole freaking thing, but I had to conserve my battery on the phone. I couldn't just be walking around with my phone all like this all day and drain the battery down to nothing. I needed the phone to be a phone and to look things up. I had to log into my fucking bank account and download bank statements and send them to the social services people. They kept giving me all these hoops to jump through, and I just kept jumping through them. They were expecting that I would have to leave and come back on Monday. They're like, well, if you can't do that, I'm like, no, I'm doing it right fucking now. Give me 5 minutes. I'm not fucking around. I'm not coming back on Monday to finish all this bullshit. We're getting it done now. So no, you need a bank statement. Fine. Here you go. I sent her a fucking, which ones do you need? How far back? 2 months? Okay. Download, attach. Here you go. Check your email. And so it was like that. I needed my phone at least a dozen times or more that day. And if I didn't have a charged phone and an internet connection, I wouldn't have been able to fucking do anything. And so it all worked out. But I didn't have time on that first day of being homeless to shoot a video. At all. And so that's why I waited a day. And I didn't even know what to do. I just got done wolfing a Ben & Jerry's on my EBT card for the first time. And I'm sitting at the park with a phone in my hand, and I'm like, fuck it, let's YouTube this bitch. And I just started doing it. And look, and that's where I am now. You've been following me ever since. Some of you have been following this since day one. And so, yeah, I look around and I got all these problems and the crazy stuff going on at this place. And tomorrow is kind of symbolic, because tomorrow then is the 18th, which is the first day I started doing YouTube videos. Second day of being homeless, first day on YouTube. And I got something to do tomorrow that's kind of significant. And I'm actually gonna post this video tomorrow. Whenever I have a chance to upload it and throw a thumbnail on it. And I'll make this one go live. And then the other ones that you see are gonna be the delayed ones. They're just kind of documenting April through May. So you'll probably get 2 videos tomorrow. But yeah, I'm up to something tomorrow that's going to be interesting. I'll put it that way. And we'll see how it goes. There's a light at the end of this tunnel. It's not the light I wanted, but it'll do. And it's not going to be bad. I've got a plan. There's some other interesting things that just happened that I'm not going to say just yet. But really, there's a video coming up where I blasted a bunch of people in the comments section because the trolls were hitting it hard. And they are. Trolls have been hitting it hard since I've been going through the adversity since April 3rd. And I don't even know. I might pull something out before it goes. Like, I have not even edited those videos yet. Or saved out the files to upload to YouTube, rather. But I'm so tired. But I'm going to. I don't want to say. You'll find out soon. Everything there is to say will be said soon. I just gotta wait for something to fall into place. And then there's some things. I think there might be some things that happen after the fact that I'm gonna have to deal with. But you've already seen by now, what this fucking bag of dicks is up to. And so I might have some residual problems that have to. I've got some things in my pocket. I've got some really juicy bombs to drop if I need them. If not, they're going to stay in the silo. But if I have to open up the silo, put in the nuclear launch codes, turn that big metal key and hit the red button, fuck it. It's going to go down. But it'll be a retaliatory strike if it needs to happen. I'm not going to just. I just want to get on with my life. But tomorrow should be an interesting day. I'm just going to leave it at that. I'm sure any of you with half a fucking brain or an imagination can figure out what that means. And at some point, I'm just going to go back to doing, like, real updates that are, like, timely and not on a 2-week delay. But if you do see videos starting to pop up, like, if you start seeing, like, 3 videos a day show up on my channel, that's the clue that I'm going to end up going back to, to giving you, like, real-time updates. But just, it's what, the 17th, duh. I've just been talking about that. But it's the 17th, so give me some time. There's some stuff in the works. There's lots of things in the works that are like 4 different fronts right now. So it's all just I'm a basket case right now, but things are starting to be better. And so, yeah, happy anniversary to the day I became homeless. I'm looking around. I got a roof over my head. I don't have to go Betty by time. Lights out at 11 o'clock or whatever it was. I can do whatever I want. I got my own little room here. The shower works. I took a shower when I came home from the sweaty bike ride today. Felt nice to just be able to drop right into the shower as soon as I got home. But yeah, tomorrow's going to be an interesting day, and I think it's kind of symbolic that that this thing is happening tomorrow that's supposed to happen tomorrow. That it's like, well, you'll see. I'm just going to leave it at that. You'll see soon, real soon. Later.